been a month since Cobra Kai Season 4 came out. Here's my spoiler review. Alright, if you have not seen Cobra Kai Season 4 yet, don't watch this video because we're going to talk about all spoilers. So, here we go. So, my thoughts of the season overall. First and foremost, John, Josh, Hayden, if you guys do end up seeing this, so I have to say, this season was by far my favorite season. It is by far the best season, and I loved it so much. This season had everything that I wanted. I thought the season was the best thing ever. I loved the season, and it was so amazing. It was so well done. I've never reviewed anything before. If I like it or I don't, I just say yes or no. But like, this one is like different, so I'm trying to find a way to like make it a good review. You know what I actually thought of the season, and so far this season was by far the best season of the whole show. This season was incredible, and I remember. Because I went to the virtual premiere. If you don't remember or you don't know, or if you were there, you probably do remember. But it was like a few days before the season dropped, they had this thing called a virtual premiere that Netflix had, and it was first come first serve. Only a few selected people were able to come. I was one of them. Thankfully, hit an RSVP. Like, you had to do it like right away. Luckily, thank God, I was one of them. So, yeah, I was so happy when I got the RSVP reservation because I was like freaking. I was like, oh my gosh, like what if I did it? And I got the RSVP, and they only showed the first episode and they had like an interview with the cast after that. But the first episode, I remember like jaw dropped. I was like amazed and shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. I saw the first episode with my cousin and my dad because my cousin was staying over for a few days. So luckily he stayed from that virtual premiere and we saw season 4 together. So, but we saw it and then we were all jaw dropped. We were all amazed. We were all like, and when the episode ended, we were like, that's it, like, because we wanted more. That's how well the show is. Like, you crave for more, especially at the end of the season. You want season 5 now, and it is so good. This season was by far the best season. I always say that every single year. Every single year, say like, oh, this season's the best season. Said that last year was season 3. Said it was season 2. I think this season was the best. I thought this season was the best season because everything had emotion, action. The fighting was amazing. Everything was cool. Everything was amazing this season. So, I love this season. This season was by far the best season of the show. Now, out of 10, I rate the season Infinity a million out of 10. I thought this season was so good. I loved it so much. All the characters I loved and everything was amazing. I loved the season. This season was so good. Now, the thing that we're probably going to talk about the most, the All Valley Tournament. So, here we go. With the All Valley Tournament, I rewatched the whole season from front to finish, beginning to end, like 2 times. Then after that, I just rewatch it out of order, whenever. I rewatched the All Valley episodes a bunch. I rewatched the All Valley episodes. Those episodes was a 2-parter. And I remember, it was like, I was during the virtual premiere. Mary Mauser was in the interview. And she said, oh, episode 9, you guys are going to be freaking out. All this. Like, you guys, I'm so excited for you guys to see episode 9. And I was like, oh, she was right. Like, episode 9 was insane. They had everything. We had the All Valley Tournament. We had everybody come back. It was so freaking awesome. And the All Valley Tournament was so good. Like, I never screamed or never had excitement. Like, my heart was racing. It was like super bad. My heart was like doom, 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 doom. And then this tournament was everything I wanted. Like, it made things that I didn't know I wanted until I saw it, you know? And my theories were wrong, and I'm kind of happy they were wrong, because how it turned out was even better, you know? All Valley tournaments start off, they opened up with, it's karate time. I forgot who said it. I think, was it like Daryl? I forgot his name. The guy's like, and Cobra Kai, a better name for a dojo. Like, all that stuff. So, that guy, but he comes up and he introduces all the dojos, introduces Miyagi-Do, Cobra Kai, and Eagle Fang. Like, when they came out, dude, they were like coming out in style, bro. When like Miyagi-Do's came out, I got the chills. When Eagle Fang came out, chills. When Cobra Kai came out, definitely got the chills. We had Silver and Kreese walking in front. Then we had Robbie, Tori, and Kenny, and the rest of the students in the back. It was just insane. I love the tournament. And, you know, they started off with the skills competition. The skills competition was amazing. First and foremost, I saw Mary Mouse's Instagram post, and first and foremost, Mary, if you somehow see this, I highly doubt you do see this, but if you do, you freaking crushed it with the size. I remember seeing, if you saw my season 4 trailer reaction, you saw me freaking out with Sam with the size. It was so awesome. Tori, Peyton, you crushed it with the katana. Robbie, Tanner, he did like a form thing, bro. Tanner was ruthless. Robbie was ruthless this season. I loved Robbie this season, and he was like doing like the form thing. He had like the nice like martial arts form, and it was so good. Like Tanner did awesome. Mary did awesome with the size. Shola did awesome with his form, with the little like his little form thing, and then Peyton did awesome with the katana. It was so freaking awesome. You guys crushed it. I loved it. You guys did amazing. And yeah, I love that. The skills competition was awesome. Uh, then we had to go to like the fighting area. And there was a cameo we had. We had a cameo this season. I think this was like our first non-Cobra Kai cameo we had. Or non-Karate Kid related cameo we had. And that is Carrie Underwood. Yeah, that's right. Carrie Underwood made a cameo in Cobra Kai. I was pretty shocked by that. I was not expecting that. I'm going to be honest with you. Her cameo was kind of unnecessary. But I wasn't mad at it, you know? She has an amazing voice. She did an amazing, beautiful cover to Moment of Truth. I love that cover. That cover was amazing. I loved it. It was really good, but it could have been left out, you know? Like, I wasn't mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Like, I'll watch it. Like, that did not ruin the episode. I mean, it kind of added something, but it was unnecessary a little bit, you know? But it's fine. It's whatever. She did awesome with the Moment of Truth. Carrie Underwood was awesome. Then we went to the fighting, and the fighting was really cool. We saw a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to remember. I rewatched the episode yesterday, so I'm trying to remember. It's still kind of fresh in my head a little bit. I wish I kind of rewatched it before this. Yeah, we had everybody come in. We had Eli, we had Miguel, we had Sam, Tori, Robbie, Kenny, Dimitri. Oh, this episode we finally got Dimitri's last name. They finally revealed it at the beginning of the skills competition, and we finally got Dimitri's last name. Dimitri Alexopoulos. We finally got his last name. I remember Hayden teased that on Twitter. I was really shocked that he did that. I was not expecting that. Really shocked he did that. But like, yeah, I remember Hayden tweeted that, and I'm like, whoa. Like, I was cool with it, you know, like, hey, more Cobra Kai news or these things to get excited for. But when he teased that was a little shocking. I was like, whoa, like, but like, I didn't mind, you know. But he didn't say what the last name was, and that's when everybody started like figuring out, okay, what's his last name? What's Dimitri's last name? What's the last name? And we finally got it, and 4 seasons in, we finally got Dimitri's last name, Dimitri Alexopoulos. I knew it had to be from A to G because you remember in season 1, Miguel and Dimitri took like the SATs, and the boards, his last name's A to G, so I knew Dimitri had a last name from there. But yeah, that was really cool. First of all, Dimitri, if you hated Dimitri, bro, you better love him now, because Dimitri was awesome this season. He was awesome last season. Bro, Dimitri was awesome, bro. Dimitri needs more love. I love Dimitri. But, yeah, let's go back to the fighting. The fighting was cool. We had, like, Kenny. Dude, we'll get to Kenny later, but Kenny was awesome this season. We had Robbie fight. We had Miguel, Sam, Tori, Eli, Hawk, everybody. So that was really cool. And it was just like those like little fights they played, like it was played during Carrie Underwood's cover of Moment of Truth with it, which again, amazing. I actually liked it, but you know, it was cool. But anyways, and then we had that's when we started getting to like the fights, you know, and we had, I think, yeah, it was Daniel and Sam. They were watching like the other Miyagi-Dos fight and all that stuff, and they were looking at the Cobra Kais. And they were doing like wax on, wax off. I forgot this technique. The technique that Daniel used against Chosen in Karate Kid 2. Like stuff that Robbie taught Daniel with like him grabbing like the car pole and like pushing it down and coming back up. Wax on, wax off, paint the fence. Like they did everything. And there's one line that Daniel said to Robbie, because they had a confrontation before their fight. And they had a confrontation, and Daniel says, I forgot what the line says. I'll put the line right here. But that line was powerful. So yeah, Daniel says that to Robbie, and I was like, oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh, dude. Like, it was incredible. I loved it, dude. It was so freaking sick. Like, that gave me chills, like, because, like, I'm like, yo, like, what Daniel says is what Daniel did was right. Like, I loved Robbie. Robbie was awesome this season, and then we got to the semifinals. That's what was like the last like 10-15 minutes of the episode was the semifinals, and the first people that we saw fighting was Robbie and Kenny. Now, that fight, that's the part where I really feel bad for Kenny, because Robbie was like a mentor to Kenny. You know, Robbie was Kenny's mentor. It's like student fight teacher in a way, you know, and that was really, really like not emotional, but like a little heartbreaking to see, because they're not like sparring, they're fighting in an actual tournament, and they had timeout, and then like Carrie says, "Are you fighting your friend, or you're fighting your opponent?" He says it to Robbie, like that was like, whoo. So Robbie was like, I have to win. And so, like, he, like, had his hands behind his back, and he was, like, moving around and all that stuff. Like, Kenny was, like, punching and yelling at him. And, like, oh, my gosh. And there's one move that Robbie did to Kenny that looked like it hurt, and it sounded like it hurt. And he did, like, a kick to his nose. And, I mean, he got the point. But that was ruthless. I saw that. I was like, yo, Robbie did Kenny dirty, bro. Robbie did Kenny dirty. But yeah. So Robbie got the point. He won. He moved on to the finals. Now we're at the girls. Now the girls, we had Tori and Devin were fighting, I think. We saw that. And Tori won the fight. Then we had Sam and Piper fight. And, like, Piper was talking smack about Miyagi-Do. He's like, oh, yeah, Miyagi is only for defense. And without defense, you can't win, or whatever she said. She said something like that. And that's, like, ticked off Sam. And so Sam went in, bro. Sam was fighting her. She looked at Johnny, and she did, like, eagle fin karate. She went aggressive. And, oh, my gosh, bro. Oh, and that was insane, bro. So we had, like Sam was fighting. Like, at first she was using Miyagi-Do, right? Then, like, she was, like, losing. Then she looks at Johnny, and she does eagle fin karate, and oh my gosh, dude, I was freaking out, because Sam's like one of my favorite characters, so I was like freaking out, like, let's go, Sam, let's go, Sam. And so she was doing it, and oh my gosh, bro, it was insane. Sam was awesome, and then she won the fight, and that was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. Sam freaking crushed it this season. And then they took a little break, and then they had Eli and Miguel fight. Before they fought, Miguel went to Daniel. Daniel says to Miguel, like, I see you make it to the semifinals. Miguel's like, yeah, you didn't have to train as a fish for no reason. And so yeah, and then Johnny comes up like, oh, like, you're gonna soften up Miguel or whatever, and he says, and Daniel's like you haven't gotten to Sam's head. So like Daniel and Johnny still kind of mad at each other, because like Daniel's having influence on Miguel, and Johnny's having influence on Sam, and like Daniel and Johnny don't like that, to have influence on their kids, kind of. So yeah, Miguel and Eli fight, and then oh my gosh, bro. Number one, Miguel. People say Miguel was nerfed this season. I don't think so. Here's why. One, Miguel just got off a serious back injury. He's not gonna fight like he did in season 2. It's gonna take a while for him to recover to be like that Miguel again. So I think what they did with Miguel this season was amazing. Although he was a little this season, like a little sidetracked, he was still pretty present and important to the story. So I think what they did with Miguel this season was fantastic, incredible. I think what the writers did with Miguel, they know what they're doing. And we're going to see probably Miguel, season 2 Miguel, maybe in season 5. Because I think it's slowly building up, because Miguel was in a wheelchair for half of season 3, and he's starting to get back. And then season 4 was him trying to get back again, still recovering. And now season 5 Miguel is probably going to be like season 2 Miguel or better. So I think Miguel this season was awesome. But anyways, Miguel and Eli fight, right? And then like the music plays and everything. They had like their little fighting stance, and they were about to fight. And then, you know, I think it was 2-2, right? Eli's on the floor, or Eli's like backing away a little bit, and Miguel's gonna do the tornado kick that Johnny taught him. So he does it, right? And everybody's like standing up. Even my people in my house, it was me and my dad, we were like off our seats a little bit. So I was like, especially me, I was like, oh no, 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 no. I was like, oh, Miguel's gonna win. Miguel's got this. Miguel's gonna make it to the finals. So he does. He jumps and turns. He's gonna do the kick. You hear that? Miguel falls. Then you hear him yell, Sensei. Miguel got injured again. That's when I was like, that's when my heart really was pounding. It's like, no! So my heart was pounding, dude. I was having so much stress and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this show is gonna be the death of me. But, so yeah, Miguel gets hurt from doing the kick. And yeah, episode ends. Then we're not done talking about the tournament. We're still talking about the tournament. So then we go to the next episode. The next episode, it opens up with the hospital. And we all think it's Miguel. It's Miguel. Oh, okay, cool. They're gonna open Miguel in the hospital, I guess. So they open. You hear the hospital beep, beep, beep. But they trick you. And it's Stingray, which we will talk about Stingray in a few minutes. So we go to Stingray, and it goes to Stingray, and he's like beaten up because Carrie still beat the crap out of him. And oh my gosh, dude, it was insane. And then they cut to Miguel, like the doctor popping the muscle back into Miguel and everything. So Miguel asks if he can still fight. The doctor says that like, if you feel fine, go for it. But if you don't, listen to your body. So they gave Miguel half an hour to recover. Right? Then Johnny and Miguel talk like, hey, like show your back who's boss, right? Like you got this. And we see Miguel like he doesn't want to fight. And like before Eli and Hawk fought, they were like, Hawk's my friend, like kick his butt, like what, like, and he's like, if you don't win this fight, we lose Eagle Fang, and I can't be your sensei anymore. You don't want that, right? And then we see Miguel. He's like, and then he's like, whose side are you on? And then Miguel, and then Johnny says like, I'm on your side. This was last episode, but I forgot to mention it. But like, it kind of have that conversation again, like like if you don't do this, like Eagle Fang's no more. I can't be your sensei. You don't want that, right? And Miguel's like, no, I don't want that. But like you can see in his face, like, I don't want to fight in the tournament. I'm not fighting for me. I'm not. So we cut away to Miguel for a little bit. Dimitri and Robbie are fighting. And so they're fighting. They take a break. And for those who don't know, I'm a Star Wars guy. Like, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my favorite franchise ever. So, well, next to Cobra Kai, I think Cobra Kai is a little bit more. Hence the background and my jacket. The name of the channel and this whole point of the video. But they do like a really cool Star Wars Revenge of the Sith reference, and Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. And Dimitri says like, oh, I can't beat him. I feel like a youngling about to get slaughtered. Dude, I started dying when I heard that. And then Eli says like, you have the high ground. Be like Obi-Wan. That's how he beat Anakin. And like that made me smile, bro. Because I'm a Star Wars fan, and like hearing that reference was just amazing. I loved it. I think I made a meme on Instagram. Right, I said like I put Obi-Wan's body, but Dimitri's face. It says, "Over Robbie, I have the high ground," and then Robbie says, "You underestimate my power." So it was funny, but Dimitri loses and Robbie wins, and then Robbie actually makes it to the finals. So then we have Kyler and Eli about to fight, and then Kyler's talking smack, and he's like, "Yeah, Lip, I'm gonna beat you on the mat," or whatever he says. And then, like, Eli's kind of, like, pissed, and he's kind of worried, like, oh, dude, I'm going to lose, because he doesn't have his confidence, because, like, the Mohawks lost and everything. And then we see Moon come in, and we see Moon actually liking Eli. She liked Hawk, but she liked Eli's personality more. That's who she fell in love with, And so, like, she kisses him, and then that gives Hawk's confidence again, and dude, oh my gosh, there's a moment, dude. Oh, it was a Hawk about to fight Kyler. And he says that, like, he goes to Daniel, he's like, I think I know who I am now. And you're like, yeah, who? Like, the guy who's about to win this whole effing... Like, he actually said the word, but I'm not going to say here because kids watch and I don't want to get demonetized. But he's about to win this whole effing thing. And, bro, chills. He hops on the mat, you hear the... You hear quiver... Dun, 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 dun. Like, and then, like, you hear the Hawks down, and he, like, beat the crap out of Kyler. Bro, Oh my gosh, Eli beat the crap out of Kyler. So, oh my gosh, dude. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved that. I loved it. That fight was insane. The moment leading up to it was awesome. It was cool. It was awesome. So now we wait for Miguel. We wait for Miguel to show up. And they have a timer. So the announcer says like Miguel Diaz has 1 more minute so he can come back to fight in the semifinals, and they were all dramatic and stuff. So he had like a timer countdown from 60 seconds to 1. And dude, if you talk about anxiety, because my heart, dude, I know I said this a lot, but like these 2 episodes made me like freak out, and so it was waiting. It was the waiting game at this point. Like I was like, is he gonna show up? My head's like, he's probably gonna show up like at the last 1 second. That's when he's gonna show up. Once it goes to 0, Miguel's not there. He's not there anymore. That makes Eli go to the finals to fight Robbie. And Miguel's not there anymore, so he can't do anything about that. And so Hawk makes it to the finals, and I think we cut back to Miguel. And we see Miguel and Sam have like a little conversation, like, why weren't you there? And Miguel's like, I'm not fighting for me anymore. Like, the past I fought for myself, and now I don't know who I am and all that stuff. So they have a whole conversation, and Sam's like, yeah, like I made it to the finals. Like, I'll see you out there rooting for me. And then Miguel's like, I'm always rooting for you, Sam. They kiss, and and Sam leaves, and then we have this long shot of Miguel. Like, it was like a really close up of Miguel after the kiss, and then it cuts back to the tournament. Cuts back to the final, and then we have Eli and Robbie are about to fight. Bro, when I tell you my favorite fight scene in the show, this scene, Robbie and Eli, that is my favorite fight scene. When I found out Hawk made it to the finals, I wasn't even thinking about Hawk making it to the finals. Literally, if you saw my video I made a few months ago, the people who I thought were going to be in the finals were Sam and Robbie. I was right about Robbie part, and I was right about Sam being in the finals, but we'll get to Sam later. Eli and Robbie fight. They have their fight, and when I tell you this fight is my favorite fight scene of the whole show, this fight scene is my favorite fight scene of the whole show. It was so epic. The music is added to it. It was so awesome. So we have Eli and Robbie. They're fighting it out. They're duking it out. They're like going at each other. They're fighting. They go to take a break, and then Eli says to Daniel, like, he's been in Miyagi-Do way longer than me. Like, he knows all the moves. And then Daniel looks back to Sam, and Sam's like, he has to use, like, Sam gave him the look, and he says, and that's the look of, like, he has to use Cobra Kai. And that's when Daniel's like, you've been in Cobra Kai longer. You know all Cobra Kai's moves. Use more offense to make him fall at defense. That's what he did. Hawk went in all Cobra Kai. They were fighting, and then the timer stopped. It stopped. And now it is tied. And now we have a sudden death match. And it is Eli and Robbie sudden death. And it is the first time since 1985 since they had a sudden death match. And I'm assuming that it was Daniel and Mike Barnes, since they had a sudden death match. So they have a sudden death match. So they bow to each other, and then so it was like, you're giving him respect? This fight should be over by now. And then we see Robbie like kind of like offended. I was like, do you want to fight him? And then we see Sierra's like, what'd you say to me? And then Kreese like, stop, like, and Kreese told him what to do and like all that stuff. And yeah. And then we go to Daniel, Eli, and all the Miyagi-Dos, and they're giving Eli the pep talk and all that stuff. And they come back, and this part was kind of like okay, but kind of cool at the same time. We have Robbie about to come up, and his gi was about to come off anyway during the first part of the fight, so he just like rips it off, and he's just like throws it at Tori. And the funny part was that like Eli looked at him and was like, what? And he looked at the ref, and he was like, I don't know. He's like, just whatever. And he was like, all right. So Eli took his gi off. He turns around. He hands it to Dimitri. Dimitri's face reaction to it was like probably one of the funniest things. But when Hawk turns around, he shows off the tattoo, and it makes the sound. You're in trouble. If when Hawk takes off his shirt and he shows off his back tattoo, you're in trouble. You're getting destroyed. You're getting wrecked. So he gives his gi to Dimitri, and they fight. And dude, this fight again was intense because they're like going at each other. They're like they're trying to win. Like they're trying to, both of them are trying to win. And so Robbie was so close to winning. He's pinning down Eli. He pins him down, and he looks at Kenny, and you hear Kenny like, "Get him! Destroy him! You got this! Go!" And then you see Robbie like kind of like hesitant do it because he looks at Kenny. He's like, "I created a monster." But then he gets distracted, and Eli gets the point, or Eli like pushes him away, and they start fighting. And Eli does like this move where like, he takes Robbie, he pins him down, and he kicks him. And boys, we have our new All Valley champ, Eli Moskowitz is our new All Valley champ for the boys. And I could not tell you, I was freaking out, dude. I was freaking out. I was losing my mind. I was like, what? It was so insane, dude. It was so awesome. Now we have the girls, Sam and Tori. But before that, we see Amanda and Tori have a little competition. Like, there's one thing, try not to hurt Sam. She says like in a way like not try not to hurt Sam in a dirty way. Fight right. And so like that gives like Tori like, okay, I'll do it. Like Tori did it. Tori fought Sam right. Like she didn't fight dirty. I think she did one dirty move by accident. We'll get to that part later. So then Daniel goes to Johnny, and Johnny and Daniel both coach Sam. And oh my gosh. And then the ref comes out like, "Oh, two-time All Valley champ, Coach Daniel LaRusso will be coaching his daughter, Samantha LaRusso. And I've been informed that he'll be joined by Johnny Lawrence." And we see Daniel go to the guy, and he's like, he whispers something to his ear. And he comes back, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Two-time All Valley champ, Johnny Lawrence." So we have Johnny and Daniel both coaching Sam. Then we have Kreese and Silver both coaching Tori. And, bro, that made me emotional when, like, they were, like, Daniel and Sam had, like, the little moment. Sam gave Daniel a hug. That really made me a little emotional. That was really nice. And so they fought. So we have Sam and Tori fighting, right? They're going to fight. And so they're fighting. Tori gets a point. They call timeout. And she's like, "What do I do?" And she's like, Daniel looks at Johnny and looks back at Sam, like, "Do what you think is right." And Sam's like, if that's okay with my other sensei? Or she says something like, "Okay, if that's okay with my other sensei." And then that's when Daniel says, "Do what you think is right." And so they go back, and then Tori and Sam fight again. And Tori does like kata a little bit. She does like kata. And then she goes full aggressive. And I was like, "Let's go, Sam!" Bro, I was cheering for Sam. I'm like, "Let's go, Sam!" So they're fighting. They call timeout again. And then Tori goes to Kreese and Silver. She's fighting aggressive. She's getting more aggressive. And then Silver's like, "You be more aggressive. I see what's inside you. You be more aggressive." So Silver and Tori and Kreese gave a pep talk. And Kreese tells Tori, "Do what you think is right." And Tori's like, "Okay." And then they go back. They fight again. So, dude, this was, oh my gosh, another fight that gave me, like, my heart pounding. So Tori and Sam are fighting. They're fighting. There's some parts where Sam was fighting, and it looks like Sam gets the point, right? Tori steps back. She's out of balance. And they don't count the point, right? And then we see Johnny and Daniel like, "Wait, no, that was in bounds. Like, she hit him." And then we see Sam like, "What? Like, I hit her." No, so yeah, they're still fighting. They're fighting. Sam gets a point. So it was like, I think it was like 2-2 at this point. It was 2-2, I think. So they're still fighting. They're fighting. Sam does this like awesome move, and she's about to get the point. She's about to win, but then Tori, elbows her in the face, like pretty bad. And so they go back to their senseis, and it's like, even that like Johnny's like, that should be a point deduction. Like, she did an illegal move to Sam. So they go back to their senseis. They have like a little talk, and Sam tries to do what's right? Sam does like Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang at the same time, and Tori goes all Cobra Kai. So they go back, they fight again, and then Tori gets the final move on Sam, and it was 3-2. And the girls' All Valley champion was Tori Nichols. Not gonna lie, I really wanted Sam. Really wanted Sam to win. I was happy for Tori because I really loved Tori this season, so I was happy for her. But like me personally, I really wanted Sam to win. But hey, for story wise, it made sense why Tori won. And then Cobra Kai won the tournament. So that means that Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang can't be no more. But we see Tori go back in to get like her jacket or something. After she was like talking with the Cobras, like celebrating all this stuff. Tori goes back into the gym area. The locker room area. That's where Tori is. Tori goes to the locker room area. And then she sees Silver with the ref. And that's when I got pissed. So Silver paid the ref for Cobra Kai to win. That got me pissed. I'm like, yo! I was so pissed. I'm like, so Sam actually won the tournament. Sam was the real Valley champ. Sam was the real one. So I got so freaking pissed. And I was like, just thinking about it now gets me upset. But yeah, so, and Tori gets pissed too. She's like, I didn't really win this then. So that literally leaves the whole questions for next season. And we're talking about episode 10, so let's finish like the whole part of that episode. So we go back, and we have so we see Johnny driving in his awesome Eagle Fang mobile. Literally. At first, in season 3, hated the car. Season 4, loved the car. He decked out the Eagle Fang, gangster. So he's just like, Johnny's driving the car, right? He goes to the old Cobra Kai dojo. He looks at it like, because like it's for sale. They're moving to a new location. They're going back to the OG location of Karate Kid. And so they go there, and then we see Robbie come in. And this scene is by far probably my favorite scene of the entire show. And it is Robbie and Johnny having a little bit, confrontation thing. It's very emotional, very powerful. Tanner and Billy crushed their performance. I cried watching that scene, and it was my favorite scene. I love the scene so much. Robbie's like, I'm sick of blaming you. Like, he's like, no, like, it's my fault. You had a good thing going with LaRusso, and I ruined it. Like, you blame me. And Robbie's like, tired of blaming you, and he gives him like a big hug, and they hug each other. Like, oh, that scene made me. I cry every time I watch that scene now, or I get emotional when I watch that scene now, because that scene was powerful. Tanner and Billy crushed it. Another scene where the actors freaking crushed it was in season 4, episode 8, and it is with Sholo and Billy. And it was a scene where it was after prom. Miguel went into Johnny's apartment, right? And Miguel's like wants to talk to Johnny what happened with prom, with like the situation with him and Sam, all that stuff. So he goes to Johnny's apartment. He sees Johnny drunk, like disgustingly drunk, right? Like Johnny, because like Johnny was fighting Silver and he lost, and he's like, oh man can kick and all that stuff. And Miguel's like, I don't know what that means. So Miguel like takes Johnny by the shoulder. He goes into his apartment, right? He puts him on his bed, gets him like situated, and he's like, okay, like we'll talk about this tomorrow in the morning. And he's like, and Johnny stops Miguel. He's like, no, I've always wanted to be a father to you. Like, I'm sorry if I failed you all those times and all that stuff. And Miguel starts crying, and he says, you're doing just fine. And he says, I love you. And then Johnny says, I love you too, Robbie. That moment hit hard. Because Sholo's acting and Billy's acting, phenomenal. That scene made me cry. That was like, no, I was like, yes, no! Like, that scene made me cry. Sholo and Billy did a fantastic job with that scene. They freaking crushed it. It was awesome. And then we see Johnny go back to, but after the tournament, Carmen tells Johnny, like, Miguel went back, took an Uber and went back home. So, like, everybody thought, like, okay, so Miguel's, like, at home, right? Johnny goes to Carmen's apartment. and he sees Carmen's like upset. He's like, "What's wrong?" He has Miguel pretty much left the country and to find his dad. So he leaves them a letter and all that stuff. Like, hey, like, I feel like I wasn't fighting for myself. Like, I need to fight not to for a trophy. I need to fight to know who my dad is. I mean, I'm gonna face the biggest fight of my life. All that stuff. And then that letter was, oh my gosh. And then this leads to next season. And then Carmen tells Johnny, like, wait, there's something you should know. And like Johnny's like, yeah, I know your husband's a bad man, all that stuff, don't worry, I got this, all that stuff. And then Carmen's like, no, he doesn't know Miguel exists. This became a whole novella. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the, oh my gosh. So then we see Miguel getting on the bus to go to Mexico. And oh my gosh, and then we go to Daniel. You see Daniel, Mr. Miyagi's grave. And we all think he's talking to Mr. Miyagi, right? We see Daniel like, I'm not gonna honor a bet for men who have no honor. So I'm gonna take down Cobra Kai. Like, and he's like, I'm sorry for like all this stuff. I thought I could do this and all that stuff. And then the camera pans away from the tombstone and it turns to Daniel. And then on Daniel's side, we see Chosen. And I'm like, what the heck, bro, what? I was freaking out. I was not expecting that. And if you watch the trailer, they put Daniel talking to Mr. Miyagi's tombstone in the trailer. The last scene was in the trailer. I was not expecting it. When I first saw that scene, I'm like, oh, that's probably like episode 5. Daniel's talking to Mr. Miyagi, like, oh, working with Johnny is like really hard, all this stuff. No, like, that was the last scene of the season. And then we see Daniel talking to Chosen. And we see turns around and he's like, we need to take him down. And he's like, will you help me? He's like, Chosen's like, yeah. And so like they bow to Mr. Miyagi's tombstone and season ends. And bro, when I tell you, that gave me chills and excitement, bro. That gave me, oh my gosh, bro. Like when I first saw that, bro, I was like, oh my gosh, that was so awesome. I loved it. Yeah. The prom episode, I think besides the tournament episodes, the prom episode was my favorite because we got to kind of see the kids be kids in a way, but also like, you know, there's still fighting involved, all that stuff. But yeah, we saw the kids kind of be kids, and it was nice. I liked it a lot. The prom episode was cool. That was probably one of my favorite episodes. Also, the prom episode, we had a cameo that I did not expect, and it is Stingray. Bro, when I first saw Stingray, I saw the slippers. I'm like, no, it can't be. It simply can't. Then it goes out. I was just singing. I'm like, let's freaking go! I was like, no way! Like, finally, Paul Walter Hauser, let's go! I was not expecting Stingray to come back this season. I wasn't expecting for Stingray to come back to the show at all. When we saw it, I was like, oh, amazing, loved it. And then, actually, something I didn't mention before, but Stingray, well, Silver, this is back in episode 10. Kreese and Silver have like a little confrontation. Right, they're talking to each other, right? And he's like, oh, like, Sting's like, I'm tired of you pulling it, like, oh, you saved me in the war, all this stuff. You know what? I'm gonna show no mercy to you. And then Stingray tells Silver, like, you want to be in Cobra Kai? Tell the person who just beat you up was John Kreese. Then you'll be in Cobra Kai. And so Stingray would do anything to be in Cobra Kai. That's what he did. And Kreese gets arrested, which will release the next season, which, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The new characters we had this season, we had 2 new characters this season. We had Kenny, played by Dallas Dupree Young, and Devin, played by Una O'Brien. When they first got announced, I was excited. I was like, cool. We had new characters to show, awesome. But then, in my head, I'm like, oh, they're probably going to be like, how Devin was this season, that's how I thought Kenny would be this season also. Like, I thought they would both be like that. No, Devin had a season where I expected her to be like this season. I was not expecting Kenny to be a huge part this season. And I loved it. Kenny was awesome this season. Dallas Young crushed it as Kenny. He did an amazing job. Cannot wait to see more of what he has in store for next season. Cannot wait. Next season is going to be awesome. Also, with Kenny, we learned something very important from Kenny. So if you don't know, back in season 3, where Robbie went to juvie, we met a character named Sean, and Sean was basically the bully in jail. But then him and Robbie made amends after their fight, and they like kind of had a mutual respect for each other. So we learned something about Kenny, and then cause Kenny was on this phone with his dad, and he's like, yeah, like your mom hasn't been the same since what happened to your brother and all that stuff. He's like, oh, so it's like, did his brother die or something like that? No. What we learned about Kenny is that he's actually Sean's brother, which is mind blowing. So he goes to Kenny. So Kenny goes to Sean in juvie, tell him like, yo, like there's these bullies in school. They've been bullying me. Kenny says that to Sean, and Sean is like, I know something to help you with that. I know a guy or something like that, and he tells Kenny about Robbie, and so that makes Kenny join Cobra Kai and meet Robbie, and like, dude, that moment was just insane. That moment was just awesome. It was so cool to see like Sean again also, and I hope we see more of Sean next season when he gets out, when he joins Cobra Kai. Oh, that would be a cool thing to happen. But yeah, we see Anthony LaRusso has a huge part this season also, but he's a bully to Kenny. And dude, like really, if you did not like Anthony, you really don't like him this season. I did not like him. He kind of redeemed himself a little bit for me, at least, when he's like apologizing. I'm like, okay, I respect you at least. I respect it. Like, okay, you're coming back up again. And then we see Kenny like, okay. He's like, nah, bro. Like, no mercy. And he beats the crap out of. This is like episode 10. He beats the crap out of like Anthony, because like Anthony did awful things to Kenny. He put milk in his locker, took his clothes, beat the crap out of him. Like, low-key, Anthony got what he deserved a little bit. But yeah, but he like Kenny's beating the crap out of Anthony. And like Robbie comes in like, wait, Anthony LaRusso's your bully? And he's like, no, this isn't. And Robbie's like, no, this is not what I taught you. And he's like, Kenny's like, it's Cobra Kai, no mercy. And he goes to Kenny like, get ready for high school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. That next season's gonna be amazing. I thought Kenny was awesome. Dallas Dupree Young. I loved what they did with this character. This shows you how bad the actual dojo Cobra Kai can be. They take an innocent kid who was being bullied, to being a bully. They did the same. Well, Miguel wasn't a bully, but he became like season 1. And at the end of season 1, Miguel became a bit like a jerk, you know? Like season 1, Miguel, nicest kid ever. And the season 1, Miguel becomes an a-hole. But like, you know, Miguel comes back and then he becomes normal again. But Hawk, on the other hand, like Hawk was being bullied. But then they turn around and he makes him become the bully. But now he's not the bully anymore. He's a good guy now. I think that's gonna happen with Kenny. Kenny's gonna come back to the light. I don't think Robbie's gonna be in Cobra Kai next season. I think Robbie's probably either gonna go back to Miyagi-Do or go join Eagle Fang. I don't think Robbie's gonna be in Cobra Kai next season. And then another surprise cameo that I really loved was Aisha. When Aisha returned, they foreshadowed her return in the beginning of the episode. Where at the board meeting, they were showing like Xander Stone doing like an axe kick to Aisha. And it's kind of weird how they show that one. And then they said, oh, like we need a girls division, boys division. And then we see like Sam being upset because her parents are allowing Tori to go back in school and all that stuff. So then Sam gets upset. She drives up to a house, and at first I'm like, where is she? Like, where is Sam? Like, and then she opens the door and it's Aisha, and I'm like, no way, dude. I missed Aisha in the show, bro. When I saw her return, I was like, let's freaking go. When I saw Aisha return, I'm like, yes. That was, oh my gosh, that was awesome. I loved Aisha's return. She had a talk with Sam, which kind of went over Sam's head, but whatever. But yeah, Aisha's return. I loved her return. It was awesome. Loved it. She talked to Sam about, hey, like try something new, like get to know Tori, all that stuff. Like, I forgot the actual word, but like that's basically what she said. Kind of went over Sam's head a little bit because I think Sam took it in the wrong way. But yeah, low key, I understand what Sam was doing, because Tori messed with Sam's emotions, gave her anxiety, gave her PTSD, gave her scars, started 2 fights, broke into her house, broke her furniture, messed her up. Like, not gonna lie, I'll kind of agree on Sam a little bit. Although there are some things where I really don't agree with Sam this season, where kind of I'm like, my toes out, okay, Sam, relax yourself. Don't do that to Tori, because I really felt bad for Tori this season. There's some parts where I'm like, I understand where she's coming from. I wouldn't do that, but I understand where she's coming from. So, yeah. But, yeah. My Tori and Robbie this season. This was Robbie's best season, for sure. This was Robbie's best season. Robbie crushed it this season. Robbie did amazing this season. When I tell you, before this season started, I'm like, yo, this is going to be Robbie's best season. Although I would like to see more of a darker version of Robbie in Cobra Kai. What we got with Robbie so far was really good, and I think that was amazing. How they handled Robbie's character this season was awesome. I already talked about Miguel. I'll talk a little bit more about Hawk. Was not expecting him to join Miyagi-Do. Was not expecting him to win the All Valley. That was cool. Hawk was amazing this season, and I called it, dude. If you follow my TikTok, the day before season 4 came out, I'm like, Hawk's gonna dye his hair purple, or he's gonna shave it. I was right. I'm just saying that right now. Oh, okay. I'll say kind of right. Because either he's gonna shave it, or he's gonna dye it purple, or like, and then like, after that, later on he'll shave it. Although he didn't shave it himself, Robbie took it off. But I'm just saying that, kind of right. I was kind of right. I'm counting myself right on that. I was so happy. I was like, I knew it. But low-key pissed because the purple was nice. I love the purple mohawk. I wish they kept it a little bit longer. But whatever. It's whatever at this point. But, yeah. My favorite characters this season. Let's go by my favorite characters this season. And it was Robbie, Tori, Kenny, Silver, and Hawk. Not in that order probably, but like at the top of my head. Those are my favorite characters this season. I think all of them crushed it this season. They did amazing. I loved every single one of those characters this season. They did an amazing job. Oh, and then my favorite characters overall changed a little bit. So Miguel is still number 1, Sam's still number 2, Johnny's still number 3. Hawk's number 4. I loved Hawk. Hawk really this season, really. I loved Hawk in season 3. But I'm like, I need to see more of him, a little bit like how he was in season 4 when I saw it. Hawk's number 4, bro. I loved Hawk. And then Silver's number 5. Silver was awesome. I love Silver. So yeah, those are my top 5 favorite characters of the entire show. But yeah, let's talk about the Terry Silver's return. So, Terry Silver's return was amazing. What they did with him was awesome. Literally, in the first half of the season, Terry, I would love for Terry to be my sensei. If I was in the Cobra Kai universe, the first half of season 4, I would accept Terry Silver as my sensei. He had good morals. He had good points. He was not striking first. He was, but like he was not being like, he wasn't Terry Silver like in Karate Kid 3, and I loved it. I'm like, dude, like I would love for Terry to be my sensei if I was in the Karate Kid universe. But then later on, I'm like, yeah, take that back. I'd rather have Johnny as my sensei. But we have that, and then Silver's like not the psycho we thought he was. His first his introduction was like, yeah, dude, like, I was hopped up on cocaine. I was tormenting a kid. I was over a high school karate tournament. Like, dude, like, it sounds crazy. I wanted revenge. Like, it sounds crazy when you think about it. And when you think about it, like, that's basically what Terry Silver's goal was in Karate Kid 3. Like, wow, like, he's not wrong. And I'm like, whoa, like, that made me second guess myself about Karate Kid 3. I'm like, whoa, like, you're right. Like, that was kind of, like, what happened. And then, you know, all that stuff happened, and then Terry this season was phenomenal. And then Chris comes back, and he always convinces him, like, hey, remember the war? I helped you in the war. I did this for you in the war. Remember what happened in war? Remember what happened in Nam? And, like, it gets to the point where he gets back to Cobra Kai. He put the ponytail back on, all that stuff. He's like being the sensei. I'm like, let's go, like, yes, Silver. But then Silver gets tired of hearing like war. You saved me in war. All that stuff. Yeah, I get it. You know what? I'm tired of you. No mercy to you. You're going to jail to Grease. And then like Terry Silver this season was awesome. But yeah, if overall this season was amazing. I love this season. This season was awesome. I love the characters. I love the actors did awesome. Like everybody did awesome. So would I recommend Cobra Kai season 4? Heck yeah. Is it the best season for me? In my opinion, heck yeah. Was it my favorite season? Yeah. Did the writers did awesome? Yeah. The actors did an amazing job performing. Yes. Did the stunt coordinators, although we had new stunt coordinators, were they as good as the other ones? Heck yeah. Were the fights amazing? Yeah. Did this season have one of my favorite fight scenes? Yeah. This season was everything I wanted and more. Was the music score phenomenal? Yes. Overall, this season was phenomenal. The fighting, the acting, the music, the direction, everything. Everything this season was awesome. I loved it. Netflix, Josh Hayden, you guys, awesome. The whole cast, Mary, Sholo, Billy, Martin, Jacob, Tanner, Ralph, like, all of you guys. The newcomers, Una, Dallas, you guys crushed as an introduction for your characters. You guys crushed it. Griffin, you did awesome as Anthony. Like, everybody, like, Thomas Ian Griffith, man, like, crushed it as Silver. Oh my gosh, everybody was awesome this season, and it gave, maybe next season we might see Bad Boy Karate, because remember Terry Silver says that I have a couple friends of my own from Cobra Kai, and I'm like, oh, Mike Barnes, and then Amanda tells to Daniel, like, are there any more of your mortal enemies not coming from Cobra Kai coming back to torture us? And he's like, no. Well, maybe. All that stuff, like, because, like, was he meant, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Mike Barnes. So I think Mike Barnes is going to come back for this season. And Daniel's like, and then I remember there was a scene where Daniel and Johnny fought. Number one, that scene was really funny. That bet, he's like, Dimitri, who's he tweeting to? You're his only follower. Like, that was so funny. But that fight scene was awesome, because, let's talk about that fight real quick, actually, before we end. There's a fight scene with Daniel and Johnny, like, the tournament, like, they made a bet to each other drunk. And they made a bet, and they were, like, fighting. And then, like, there was one scene where Daniel was doing the pressure points. I'm like, oh, Daniel's gonna win. But then Johnny finds a counterattack, and he, like, stops it, and he, like, bah! He gets the point on Daniel. Never mind. I just had to talk about that moment. That moment was sick. Also, like, during the fight scene, Johnny and Daniel were fighting, right? And it was, like, really, it was tight, like, 2-2, so they were fighting, right? And they're both gonna do a kick. Bah! They kick each other in the face. Not gonna lie, that moment was pretty funny. I started bursting out laughing when I saw that. That moment was just cool, awesome, and funny at the same time. But yeah, that's I had to talk about that. That was just perfection. And everybody was like, oh, like, check the tape, like, check another, and John's like, check the other angle. And Kristen's like, there is no other angle. It was so funny. I love that moment. It was so cool, funny, and awesome at the same time. Thank you guys for watching this pretty long spoiler review for Cobra Kai Season 4. I have a couple more videos coming on the way. I have a lot planned. Don't know how I'll get them out, but I have some planned. And yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Click that bell notification to get notified for future videos. And yeah, hit that thumbs button. And remember, as Terry Silver would say, the real pain only just begun.